So this is the second thing. This is the other area where the teachers felt that they needed more attention in understanding what they're reading comprehension, theme and genre. Students analyze, make inferences, predicting, analyzing, making inferences, and draw conclusions about the theme and genre in different cultural, historical, and contemporary texts, and provide evidence from the text to support their understanding. The students are expected to analyze how the genre of text with similar themes shapes meanings. Again, comprehension of literacy, basically what they're reading. This and the other one where they have to understand the word just by reading, those two go hand in hand. If they can't understand what they're reading, how are they going to get the clues on the word they're having trouble with? And again, the plan is going to address all of these concerns. The first instruction practice, student-led group decisions on what they're reading. Again, it goes back to now we're going towards student-led classrooms. It's no longer the time when it's only lecture up here and the students are just listening. No, they have to get their hands dirty. They have to kind of take ownership of what they're learning. Student-led decisions. If they decide what they're doing, they decide what they're reading. Something that you're interested in. I've spoken to many students that said, okay, and I've asked them, okay, what was wrong with the reading? How come what did you find difficult? And they, more than often, they would tell me, okay, I didn't like what I was reading. Okay, what do you like reading? And it starts with that simple question. What do you like reading? Student-led. As a class, they're going to break up into groups. They're going to decide, okay, you read. And again, the teacher, you guys, can have a set of books, what you expect them to read. Or they can go on their own and decide what they're going to read. And then the group they break up into groups, and then they read, do class discussions, up here and present what their findings are, develop their own questions, and the students are going to develop their own questions to ask the group that's presenting. And that's how you gauge understanding. That's how the teacher is going to say, okay, this group knows what they're doing. This group needs a little bit of help. The teacher is going to be the facilitator, walking around, guiding them to where they're going. At the beginning, it's going to be hectic. But then towards the end, as the students know their expectations, know what to do, it's going to go quickly. Okay. Student-led group, it empowers the students. It gives up students, it gives them pride in what they're doing. They take ownership in the lesson. They decide where the lesson's going. They decide what book they're going to do. So it's going to be more interesting. We're trying to inspire a love of reading for the kids. It's going to affect almost every subject. And again, all content areas. When valuing students' choices, it values the students. We're telling them we're placing importance in what you guys think. So then they're going to, in turn, their choices are going to be better. Their work is going to be better. Their output is going to be better. They're going to be more interested in the lesson. Why? Because they chose them. Choices lead to meaningful conversations. The conversations are going to be about the books. The conversations are going to be about this book and that book, this group and that group. How do they compare? What's the difference? What do they have in common? All those things are going to be led by the students. The teachers is going to be there, okay? Expanding on the ideas, give it questioning, like again, guiding them towards the conclusion so they can infer, so they can analyze, so they can predict, so they can do all those things. And again, if they come across a word that they don't know, the context, the teacher's going to be there, okay? Look at the clues. As a group, find out the meaning. Yes, you're going to have a little bit of help with dictionaries at the beginning, but then towards the end, no dictionaries. They're just going to be able to read, discuss, analyze, infer all those things from what they chose. Choice helps establish and deepen relationships, the relationship between the students. They depend on each other. They're going to be doing work that's meaningful to them. So it's going to establish a relationship amongst them, and they're going to see the teacher as valuing their choices. It's going to create respect. And again, we're going back to creating a love for reading. So in turn, it's going to create better scores. Choices lead to independence. That is the best one. Why? Because you want students doing student-led independent work. And it's not because you guys are going to be back in the classroom sitting down reading papers. No. Independence. You want them to think on their own. You want them to decide on their own. You want them to do work that'll give you what the teacher wants to gauge your data. Next one, instruction practice. Group work with hands-on activities. That's the other thing that's being stressed nowadays. Student-led, hands-on. They need to get their hands dirty. They need to get the feeling of the class. They need to get the feeling of whatever they're doing, reading, the math, science, everything. That's how you establish learning. That's how learning takes place, with students actually going in there. You can no longer tell them about math problems. They have to investigate. They have to see what 2 plus 2 is. They have to see what this chemical does to that chemical. And in reading, they're going to investigate. They're going to do all those things. They're going to kind of like delve themselves. They're going to go into the story, the group. One of the things, testing preview with a buddy. They're going to team up and see the test. Yes, I know. That's a big. Come in, sir. The sign is somewhere back there. Thank you. They're going to see the test before you give it to them so they can start kind of investigating, getting answers. Student discussion leader. Each student is going to rotate. It's going to be discussing, okay, what they're going to develop their own questions, and that student's going to write them down. At the end, they're going to present. Brainstorm solutions in groups. Solutions for the questions. They're going to brainstorm. They're going to do flow charts. They're going to do all these charts, all these drawings, all these things that will get them to the answers. They're going to get them to analyze, predict, and infer what they're reading. Again, what they chose to read. Character dress up day, depending on the book, depending on what they read. And most often than not, yes, they're going to dress up as a character. Student-led conferences. This is during your plannings. You're going to have conference with a different group to see how they're doing, how they're getting to the answers, if there's any issues, if to see if they need more help, more time, anything. They're going to be led by the students. The teacher, again, is just going to be there to facilitate, to help them, to guide them. Student surveys. At the end, I used to do this last year. At the end of the 6-week survey, basically, what do you think of the class? What did you understand? What do you feel? What do you want to learn next 6 weeks? What would you want the students next year to learn? Again, simple questions. They can be oral, they can be on a paper, anything. The third instruction practice, group work with presentations at the end of the unit used as formative assessments. Formative assessments. This is the way you're going to see their understanding what they're reading, to see if the class needs any tweaking, to see if the groups are working well together, and more often than that, it's going to be working. Okay? Again, the groups are going to go up, present to the entire class. The other groups are going to ask questions, and the group is going to present questions to them. That's how you're going to do assessments. Not only are you going to assess what the group is doing, but also what the class. And through this, they're going to be able to predict. Again, after they do their student choices, the student-led choices for the reading, you can give them books that you think once in a while, and then leave out some things so they can predict. Okay, they're gonna be able to refer. Okay, what would happen next after the book to this character, or what would happen if this didn't happen, or this character didn't do that. Summarizing, that is one of the main things the student need to learn, need to know what, and to tell what they're reading. It could be a story, it could be a news article, anything. If they know how to summarize, they know what they were reading. Questioning. They have to be able to answer any questions they have on the reading based on what they just read, based on their summary. Again, questioning themselves. Why did this character do this? Why did this character do that? What were they feeling? What did the author want to express? Or what did the author want us to know from that reading? Again, it has to do with the student-led choices. This is the action plan. The 4 English teachers are going to concentrate on those students that we mentioned at the beginning. They're going to do workbooks, they're going to do computer programs, they're going to help them. For that, like for the action plan, for the students that are needs. Yet again, this is, the action plan also has to do with the way that they're going to be doing work in class. Everything's student-led. There will be study groups, tutorials, so that's in the action plan. The students' evaluations. The students will be assessed during the practice TSI test at the end of every week, and if they're doing better, when the teacher feels that they're ready, then they're going to take the actual one. And it's going to start from January all the way to May. And if need be, the action plan can continue in summer. This action plan is not only for TSI, it's again regular classes, regular English classes, for students in special ed, for students and the students that are English language learners, for students that are struggling. It helps all the students. We're going to focus on the reading again, inspire love for reading, and everything will improve. These are my references. I got it from the TEA, from our website, from this, for Inspiring Students led formative assessments, and from this one. In closing, the strategies will create a sense of pride in the students for reading. The lessons created will ensure that the achievement gap will hopefully be closed, and these students will pass the TSI assessment. The action plan can also be used for the STAR, the end of course test, the English test, any assessment having to do with reading. The lessons are developed for differentiated instruction with the English language, with the English learners in mind, and special education students. Thank you.